When people can't access your life, they start inventing one. That single truth explains more gossip, rumors, and fake concern than any psychology book ever could. The moment you stop explaining yourself, stop broadcasting every thought, and stop giving people backstage passes to your private life, something strange happens. The stories begin. Suddenly, you're mysterious. Then it escalates. Now you're living a double life. Now you're hiding secrets. Not because you changed into something dark or deceptive, but because you didn't change into something noisy. Here's a real, uncomfortable fact. Most people talk about others not out of curiosity, but out of boredom. Studies on social behavior consistently show that idle minds gravitate towards speculation and gossip as a form of stimulation. When someone's life lacks momentum, they borrow excitement by dissecting yours. And if there's nothing obvious to dissect, they make something up. Silence doesn't confuse them. It invites their imagination to run wild like a child with a marker and no supervision. There's also something quietly hilarious about it. You could be at home minding your business, eating leftovers and avoiding responsibilities, while somewhere else someone is convinced you're running an underground operation, living 3 lives, and hiding a secret identity. The gap between reality and the story they tell about you is often so wide, it would be funny if it weren't so revealing. This topic isn't about being secretive or playing games. It's about what happens when you choose privacy in a world addicted to oversharing. It's about how boundaries trigger suspicion, how focus looks like concealment, and how people who have too much time and not enough purpose turn your quiet life into their favorite rumor. If you've ever noticed people projecting entire narratives onto you simply because you didn't explain yourself, this isn't coincidence. It's pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 1, they confuse privacy with deception. A lot of people were raised to believe that if you're not constantly explaining yourself, you must be hiding something. They don't see privacy as a choice. They see it as a warning sign. So when you stop giving updates, stop oversharing, or stop letting people sit in your personal space mentally, they don't assume maturity. They assume guilt. Not because you did anything wrong, but because they've never learned how to exist without an audience. Some people live out loud. Every thought, every emotion, every move gets announced. That's normal to them. So when they meet someone who moves quietly, thinks deeply, and keeps parts of their life to themselves, it short-circuits their understanding. Instead of asking, why are they disciplined, they jump straight to, what are they hiding? It's not logic, it's insecurity dressed up as suspicion. The truth is, privacy threatens people who rely on access. When they can't read you easily, they feel powerless. And rather than admit they're uncomfortable not knowing everything, they turn that discomfort into accusation. Calling you deceptive feels safer than admitting they're entitled. It shifts the problem from their lack of boundaries to your supposed secrecy. There's also projection at play. People who lie, manipulate, or live double lives themselves tend to assume everyone else does too. Their own behavior becomes the lens they use to judge yours. So when you don't overshare, they assume you're hiding mess, because that's what they would be doing in your position. Clean intentions don't even cross their mind. What makes this worse is that society rewards exposure. The louder you are, the more authentic you're seen. The quieter you are, the more suspicious you become. But real authenticity doesn't require a broadcast. Some lives are meant to be lived, not narrated. So when people say you're deceptive simply because you're private, it's not insight. It's a confession. They're admitting they don't know how to trust what they can't monitor. And instead of learning that lesson, they choose the easier route, turning your boundaries into a crime you never committed. Number 2, boredom creates fiction faster than truth ever could. When people don't have purpose, direction, or even a compelling story of their own, they start borrowing yours, but they don't borrow it respectfully. They reshape it, twist it, and color it with exaggeration until it no longer resembles reality. You could be doing something as simple as keeping your evenings quiet, focusing on personal goals, or just existing peacefully, and they'll craft an entire narrative that makes it sound like you're living in secret, plotting something, or hiding an alternate life. Boredom is a powerful fuel for imagination, and not the kind that ends in a smile. It's the kind that fuels gossip, rumor, and obsession. The more disciplined or focused you are, the more threatening this is to bored minds. People can't measure progress in stillness or strategy, so they invent chaos where there is none. Your calm becomes a canvas for their stories. Your privacy becomes suspicion. Your achievements become secret maneuvers. Nothing about your life changes, but in their narrative you're suddenly 3 steps ahead of everyone. Mysterious, dangerous, and deceptive, all because they couldn't sit still long enough to understand it. This isn't just idle imagination, it's a coping mechanism for their own lack of direction. Creating fiction about others gives them temporary stimulation, a sense of control, and a twisted version of entertainment. In their world, if your life isn't dramatic enough to satisfy their craving for excitement, they simply manufacture it. They don't stop to question if it's fair or accurate. Truth is irrelevant. The story needs to exist, and they are the storytellers. What makes it even more revealing is how it reflects them more than you. Every exaggerated rumor, every wild story, every whispered accusation is a window into their dissatisfaction, insecurity, and boredom. The fact that they have to invent your life just to feel occupied says less about you and more about how empty theirs really is. You become a character in their mental escape room, and they're trapped in their own narratives. The best you can do is remain yourself, steady and unapologetic, while they spin fiction out of your very existence. Number 3, they need you to be flawed to feel normal. Some people can't handle the fact that someone else can exist without the constant display of imperfections they rely on to feel human. In their world, everyone must stumble, fumble, and broadcast every mistake, because that's the only way they measure relatability. When they see someone operating with discipline, focus, and integrity, it challenges their self-image. It highlights their own shortcomings. And rather than confront that uncomfortable reflection, they invent flaws in you. Suddenly, your consistency isn't a sign of strength. It's proof of hidden chaos. Your privacy isn't respect, it's suspicion. It's not just envy. It's a survival mechanism for their ego. They need to believe you're flawed because it balances the scales. If you're unshakably composed, achieving quietly, and handling life with skill they don't possess, it makes them feel exposed. They invent mistakes, rumors, or secret lives for you to restore their sense of normalcy. Your success, your calm, your boundaries, everything becomes a threat to the fragile structure of their self-perception. They need a story where you fall short, because it reassures them that they are not completely inadequate. The fascinating and brutal part is how creative they get. A simple act of self-control, like refusing to overshare or ignoring petty drama, can be turned into a conspiracy. If you live life on your own terms, people will rewrite the narrative to fit the template they understand. You must be hiding something because no one should be this composed, disciplined, or intentional. This behavior exposes more about them than you. It shows how uncomfortable they are with genuine stability, authenticity, and quiet confidence. They don't want to admire it. They want to discredit it. That's why the world is full of tales about people living double lives or keeping secrets, not because the person is doing anything wrong, but because the observer refuses to reckon with the fact that someone can simply be better, steadier, or more private than they are. At the core, their invented flaws are a mirror. They reveal not the truth about you, but the insecurity, envy, and mediocrity they refuse to confront in themselves. And when you recognize that, it takes away their power entirely. Number 4, access withdrawal feels like betrayal to entitled minds. For some people, the world revolves around them having uninterrupted access to everyone and everything. They're used to being the center of attention, the first to know, the ones in the loop. The moment you step back, set boundaries, or simply choose not to share every detail of your life, it registers not as a healthy act of self-respect, but as a personal betrayal. Their reaction is immediate, disproportionate, and often dramatic. They interpret your privacy as rejection and your independence as deceit. This isn't about you doing anything wrong. It's about how entitled people view relationships as transactions rather than mutual respect. To them, if you no longer report every thought, emotion, or movement, they conclude that you're hiding something, or worse, that you don't care about them anymore. The truth is, your life has always been yours, and your boundaries are your choice. But entitlement sees a wall as a threat, and a closed door as a conspiracy. The deeper reason this feels like betrayal is rooted in their dependency. Some people derive their identity from the people around them. When you stop performing for their validation, it shakes the foundation of their self-image. Suddenly, your calm, private existence becomes evidence of a secret life, a hidden agenda, or some kind of betrayal they can't fully understand. They're not angry because of facts. They're angry because their expectations have been broken. What's fascinating is how quickly imagination steps in to fill the gap. Without access, they create stories to explain the void. Your choices become conspiracies, your silence becomes manipulation, and your personal boundaries become betrayal. This pattern repeats with anyone who refuses to exist solely for their consumption. The key is that their outrage isn't about reality, it's about control. People who feel entitled to constant access can't accept that someone else might live freely on their own terms without apology. When you recognize that, you see that their betrayal is really a reflection of their insecurity, not your actions. The moment you stop reacting to their manufactured drama, their power evaporates, and what they perceive as betrayal is reduced to nothing but projection. Number 5, their consistency unsettles people who live in fragments. Consistency is a silent kind of power. When you show up for yourself, stick to your principles, and handle your life with steady discipline, it creates a quiet ripple that unsettles those who are used to chaos. People who live fragmented lives, jumping from drama to drama, thought to thought, and mood to mood, can't comprehend someone who remains composed. They expect unpredictability because that's all they know, and when they encounter stability, it threatens their entire framework of understanding. Your routines, your focus, your ability to keep calm under pressure, it looks unnatural to them. They don't see it as maturity or self-control. They see it as something hidden, something mysterious, and therefore suspicious. When you act with intention, they assume manipulation. When you choose patience, they suspect plotting. Your very consistency forces them to confront the fact that they are scattered, inconsistent, and easily rattled, which is an uncomfortable mirror they prefer not to face. This unsettled feeling manifests in all sorts of ways. They gossip, they speculate, and they assign motives to your behavior that don't exist. A person who thrives on turbulence cannot process serenity. They feel compelled to invent chaos around you to make sense of your composure. Your life, in their eyes, must have hidden complications because nothing so orderly could exist naturally. What's remarkable is how revealing this behavior is. The tension you cause isn't about you, it's about them. It's a reflection of their lack of control, their inability to commit, and their discomfort with depth. Your consistency exposes gaps in their character, and rather than grow from it, They try to manufacture flaws in you to restore balance in their perception. In essence, being consistent isn't just a personal strategy. It's a subtle disruption to the fragmented world around you. It signals stability where they expect chaos and clarity, where they anticipate confusion. And the more you remain unshaken, the more the noise around you becomes meaningless, revealing not your life, but the restlessness and instability of those who cannot measure up. Number 6. They mistake emotional control for manipulation. When you manage your emotions, think before you react, and don't let every small disturbance dictate your behavior. Some people immediately assume you're plotting or manipulating. They've been conditioned to believe that feelings must always be displayed, that reactions must be immediate, and that transparency equals honesty. So when you choose restraint, calmness, or deliberate silence, it doesn't register as maturity. It registers as calculation. Your ability to remain composed becomes a threat, and suddenly your self-control is a weapon in their narrative, not a strength in yours. This misunderstanding comes from their own lack of discipline. People who react impulsively, speak before thinking, or wear their mood on their sleeve assume everyone else operates the same way. When you break that pattern, it confuses them. They can't reconcile the idea that someone could process internally, act intentionally, and maintain emotional stability without trying to dominate, deceive, or control. So they invent motives where none exist. Your silence becomes scheming, your patience becomes plotting, your detachment becomes cold calculation. The irony is that emotional control is one of the most honest ways to live. It allows you to respond to situations without being enslaved by ego, fear, or social expectation. But for someone used to chaos and immediate gratification, honesty looks suspicious. They expect drama, so when you don't give it to them, they fill the void with imagined manipulation. Their assumptions aren't based on evidence, they're based on projection. This also reveals something deeper about human nature. Many people confuse visibility with authenticity. If your emotions are visible at all times, they feel real. If your emotions are managed, they must be fake. That mindset turns discipline into deception and strength into suspicion. Ultimately, their labeling of your emotional control as manipulation says more about them than it does about you. It exposes their impatience, insecurity, and discomfort with people who are self-sufficient emotionally. Your ability to remain calm, measured, and composed isn't a flaw. It's a mirror, reflecting everything they refuse to cultivate in themselves. And that reflection makes them uneasy enough to spin stories about you. Number 7. Projection is easier than self-examination. One of the most powerful reasons people assume you're living a double life or hiding secrets is projection. It's far easier to accuse someone else than to face the uncomfortable truths about themselves. They see traits they possess, dishonesty, manipulation, secrecy, and automatically assume everyone else behaves the same way. Your boundaries, your discretion, your privacy become the canvas onto which they paint their own flaws. They're not analyzing you, they're revealing themselves. Projection is deceptive because it feels convincing to the person doing it. If they've lied, schemed, or hidden parts of themselves to survive or to gain attention, they can't imagine a life lived without those tactics. So when they encounter someone who doesn't operate like that, their mind fills in the gaps. Silence becomes concealment. Focus becomes conspiracy. Self-discipline becomes a hidden agenda. Every action or lack of one is interpreted through their lens of their own imperfections. The frightening part is how seamlessly it spreads. Once they project, others who lack discernment join in, validating assumptions that aren't real. A single mind imagining a double life can multiply into a chorus of suspicion, each person convinced they've uncovered the truth. And none of it is about you. It's about their inability to look inward and confront the parts of themselves they despise or fear. Projection also reveals the weakness behind their accusations. They can't handle the simple fact that someone might operate differently, with integrity and discretion. Rather than accept that people live beyond the narrow expectations of their own behavior, they assume hidden motives. It's mentally easier to fabricate a story about you than to acknowledge their own lack of discipline, self-awareness, or accountability. In the end, projection exposes more than your life. It exposes theirs. Every rumor, every assumption, every whispered suspicion is a reflection of what they struggle with internally. Recognizing this flips the power dynamic. When you see that their narrative is a mirror of their flaws and fears, their accusations lose weight, and you regain clarity, calm, and control over a world that insists on inventing drama where none exists. Number 8, they fear what they can't monitor. There's a deep-rooted instinct in some people to control their environment, and that control extends to the people around them. When they can't monitor your every move, thought, or decision, it creates an internal panic they don't know how to process. To them, not knowing equals danger, and not understanding equals threat. Your independence, your privacy, and your self-sufficiency aren't just confusing, they're frightening. Because if they can't keep tabs on you, they can't predict you, and if they can't predict you, they feel powerless. Powerlessness is uncomfortable, and humans hate discomfort. So rather than confronting the fact that someone exists autonomously, they invent reasons to explain what they can't see. If you don't broadcast every detail, they assume deception. If you act with intention without informing them, they call it manipulation. The moment you step outside the invisible leash they expect you to stay on, they manufacture narratives to regain a sense of control. It's less about you and more about them needing to feel dominant in a world they can no longer dominate. This fear also exposes a lack of trust. People who panic over what they can't monitor rarely trust anyone fully, not even themselves. Your choices, your privacy, your boundaries are evidence that life can exist outside their observation, and that reality terrifies them. The more self-sufficient and focused you are, the more they struggle to place you within their small, predictable framework. What's striking is how creatively they respond to this fear. They speculate, gossip, and fabricate scenarios, turning your autonomy into a story of secrets and hidden lives. Your life becomes a puzzle they can't solve, and instead of accepting that some things don't require explanation, they try to reconstruct reality to fit their comfort zone. In truth, this is a reflection of their own limitations. Your independence exposes their obsession with control and their inability to let things exist beyond their perception. And the more you remain steadfast, unmonitored, and unapologetically yourself, the less power their fear and stories hold, until their imagined narratives crumble under the weight of your reality. Number 9, their growth exposes their stagnation. There's a subtle, almost invisible tension that emerges when someone around you starts growing while others remain in place. Your progress, focus, and evolution become an uncomfortable mirror, reflecting not what you lack, but what they haven't achieved. People who are stagnant can't handle witnessing someone else move forward because it reminds them of their own inertia, wasted time, and unfulfilled potential. Instead of admiration or introspection, they react with suspicion, gossip, and the creation of false narratives. When you rise quietly, consistently, and intentionally, it challenges the mindset of those who survive on excuses. They've built their lives around repetition, comfort zones, and avoidance, so your advancement feels like an intrusion, almost like a threat. They can't process that growth can happen without drama, without manipulation, and without deception. To them, someone moving forward must be hiding something, living a double life, or breaking unwritten social contracts. It's easier to invent flaws in you than to confront the reality of their own stagnation. This behavior also highlights insecurity. People tend to compare themselves to others, and the sharper the contrast, the greater their need to rewrite the story. They assume you're deceptive or secretive because admitting your life is simply progressing faster than theirs would force them to face uncomfortable truths. They cannot acknowledge that some people grow through discipline, focus, and boundary setting because those are things they haven't cultivated. The irony is that your growth is completely unrelated to their judgment. Their discomfort and speculation reveal more about their limitations than your choices. Every rumor or accusation they create is a protective mechanism for their ego, a way to convince themselves that your success must involve deceit or trickery. At the core, this point exposes a universal human reaction. Stagnation hates visibility, and envy masquerades as suspicion. Your evolution illuminates their inactivity, and their invented stories are simply attempts to rationalize what they cannot replicate. Growth, in its quietest and most authentic form, becomes a disruptive force, not because it harms anyone, but because it forces others to reckon with their own lack of progress. Number 10, they confuse depth with darkness. When people encounter someone who thinks deeply, feels intensely, or simply processes life on a different wavelength, they often misinterpret it as something sinister. Depth in thought and emotion is unfamiliar territory for many, and unfamiliar territory scares people. They're used to surface-level interactions, quick judgments, and shallow interpretations. So when someone quietly analyzes, reflects, or acts with intention, it triggers a need to explain it away. And the easiest explanation: darkness. Your introspection isn't curiosity, it's suspicion. Your self-awareness isn't growth, it's manipulation. This misreading happens because deep people are hard to categorize. If your mind and emotions operate beyond the ordinary, you break the templates that others rely on to make sense of the world. For someone who lives in snapshots and headlines, your steady, thoughtful presence is mysterious, and mystery is threatening. They crave simplicity. Everything they see must fit a pre-existing box. If it doesn't, their brain invents one. And so depth becomes coded as deception. Silence becomes secrecy. Reflection becomes plotting. The irony is that your so-called darkness doesn't exist. It's a projection of their own discomfort with complexity. People fear what they cannot immediately grasp. They cannot tolerate patience, strategy, or subtlety because it highlights how impulsive, shallow, or reactive they are in comparison. Your clarity and introspection shine a light on their deficiencies, and rather than grow, they attack. They fabricate a narrative where you're hiding things, not realizing that the real secret they're uncomfortable with is their own inability to match your self-discipline and insight. Depth is also threatening because it reveals consequences. When someone thinks deeply, they anticipate outcomes, understand motivations, and see beyond appearances. Those who operate superficially feel exposed, as though someone is quietly seeing behind the curtain. That exposure doesn't come from malice. It comes from competence and awareness. In essence, confusing depth with darkness is less about you and more about the insecurities of others. They label your insight as dangerous because they can't achieve it themselves. Your life, fully observed, quietly organized, and intentionally lived, becomes a mirror of what they lack. And that mirror terrifies them so much, they invent shadows where none exist. Number 11, rumors give them temporary importance. There's a certain thrill that comes from talking about someone else, especially someone who refuses to play by the loud, oversharing rules of society. For people who feel invisible, stagnant, or irrelevant, inventing stories about you provides a shortcut to significance. Every whisper, every exaggeration, every rumor gives them a temporary boost of power and relevance. They get to feel like they're in the know, like they hold information others don't, and for a moment, their own emptiness feels less pressing. This is why ordinary moments in your life can be twisted into elaborate narratives. Your quiet mornings, disciplined routines, or personal choices are filtered through a lens of imagination. A simple act of privacy becomes evidence of secrets. A measured decision becomes plotting. They don't do this out of malice alone. It's a form of self-preservation. By creating stories about you, they distract from the lack of substance in their own lives. It's easier to fixate on someone else than to confront their own shortcomings, mistakes, or stagnation. The dangerous part is that these stories spread faster than facts. Social dynamics reward drama, exaggeration, and speculation, so a single invented tale can multiply into collective truth. Suddenly, it's not just one person projecting their boredom. It's a network of voices validating a fiction that has nothing to do with reality. Your life becomes a stage for everyone else's insecurities and need for attention. What's revealing is how shallow this importance really is. Their sense of significance lasts only as long as the story remains active. It's temporary, performative, and hollow. Once they move on to the next rumor or distraction, their self-esteem deflates again, exposing the fragility behind their actions. Ultimately, the rumors are less about you and more about their need to feel relevant. Every whispered accusation or imagined secret reflects their desire for recognition, control, and distraction from their own dissatisfaction. Understanding this flips the perspective. What they see as your hidden life is actually a mirror of their insecurity and boredom, and the more you ignore it, the faster their temporary importance fades into nothing. Number 12. They assume secrecy because they lack integrity. People who habitually hide things, manipulate situations, or bend the truth have a tendency to see the world through the lens of their own flaws. If they've been dishonest, deceptive, or unreliable, they automatically assume everyone else operates the same way. Your discretion, privacy, or self-restraint isn't recognized as maturity. It's assumed to be a mask for hidden agendas. They project their own lack of integrity onto you because their mind cannot conceive that someone could live transparently, ethically, and intentionally without broadcasting every detail. This assumption is a form of self-preservation. Accepting that someone else is trustworthy, disciplined, or principled challenges their worldview. If you can operate ethically while maintaining privacy, it exposes the gaps in their character. Admitting that your actions are honorable would force them to confront their own shortcomings. So instead, it's easier to fabricate stories about you. They convince themselves that you're secretive or deceptive, not because you are, but because they need to normalize their own behavior. The more principled and focused you are, the more uncomfortable they feel. Your choices highlight their inconsistencies, their lies, and their inability to maintain accountability. Your boundaries look suspicious because they themselves have no boundaries, no discipline, and no respect for the personal space of others. They need to believe in your hidden flaws to maintain a sense of balance in a world where their own integrity is fractured. This behavior also exposes an ironic truth. People with low integrity are obsessed with monitoring others. They assume that everyone who keeps a life to themselves must be hiding something because that is their only way of life. Secrecy is normal to them, so they cannot understand transparency. Your simple act of self-respect becomes, in their eyes, evidence of a double life, when in reality, it's evidence of your character. At its core, this point shows that their accusations reveal more about them than you. Every suspicion, every imagined secret, every whispered rumor is a reflection of their own ethical gaps and personal insecurities. Understanding this flips the power back to you. Your integrity stands quietly, while their assumptions crumble under their own moral weakness. Number 13. You broke the unspoken contract of oversharing. In today's world, there's an invisible rule most people follow. The more you expose, the more you belong. Social media, casual conversations, and constant updates have conditioned society to expect constant visibility. People share, overshare, and leak details about every thought and action, and anything outside that norm is immediately suspicious. When you refuse to participate in this unspoken contract, when you guard your privacy, live intentionally, and choose discretion, you break their expectations. That act of independence doesn't go unnoticed. It makes you a puzzle they feel compelled to solve. Breaking this contract triggers discomfort, often disguised as criticism or suspicion. People interpret your silence as secrecy, your focus as hidden agendas, and your boundaries as betrayal. They've been trained to equate transparency with honesty and exposure with trustworthiness. So when you don't constantly perform your life for their observation, they feel unsettled. They think, if they're not showing, they must be hiding. The reality is far simpler. You're choosing to live life on your own terms rather than for public consumption. What's fascinating and revealing is how they react to this disruption. The moment you stop oversharing, gossip fills the gaps. Your choices are reinterpreted, exaggerated, or fictionalized. Your independence threatens their sense of control and exposes their reliance on external drama. It's not about your life being secretive. It's about them being uncomfortable with a life that isn't constructed for their consumption. This unspoken contract also explains why so many people feel entitled to your attention. They expect access because you've unknowingly been measured against the standard of constant visibility. When you step away, it feels like betrayal to them, even though it's nothing more than self-respect. Ultimately, refusing to overshare is a quiet rebellion against societal expectation. It's a refusal to participate in the theater of constant performance, and it forces others to reckon with the fact that life can be lived authentically, privately, and deliberately. Your silence, discretion, and focus aren't crimes. They're proof that you operate on a higher plane, unconcerned with performing for the amusement, judgment, or approval of anyone else. Number 14. The truth is simple and insulting to them. Sometimes the simplest explanation is the hardest for others to accept. The reality of your life, your choices, and your boundaries is often straightforward. You live intentionally, you value your privacy, and you refuse to perform for an audience. But for those who thrive on drama, speculation, and constant comparison, simplicity is unbearable. It doesn't fit their narrative of complexity, mystery, or intrigue. They crave a story because the truth is too plain, too direct, and too honest for their taste. Your life isn't complicated, but that truth feels threatening, even insulting, to people who assume everyone should operate on their level of chaos. They expect twists, secrets, hidden agendas, and double lives because that's what they project onto the world. When none exist, it challenges their assumptions. It forces them to confront the uncomfortable reality that your choices require no justification, no performance, no spectacle. Your success, calm, and focus aren't the result of secret schemes or manipulations. They're the result of discipline, patience, and self-awareness. But people who operate through exaggeration, rumor, and noise can't process that. To them, the simplicity of your life is incomprehensible, so they invent complexity to make it digestible. This misinterpretation isn't accidental, it's a defense mechanism. Accepting that your life is straightforward, principled, and intentional would force them to measure themselves honestly, to see their own flaws and inertia. That level of introspection is uncomfortable, so it's easier to believe in hidden motives than to face reality. Your simplicity becomes their confusion, your discipline becomes suspicion, and your clarity becomes a challenge to their worldview. What's powerful is that simplicity is unassailable. No amount of gossip, projection, or accusation can change what is plainly true. Your life doesn't need justification, and your integrity doesn't need validation. The more people try to complicate it, the clearer the reality becomes. You are not hiding, you are not deceiving, and you are not playing games. Your truth is simple, and for those who thrive on complexity and drama, that simplicity is the most honest, disruptive, and ultimately, the most insulting thing they will ever confront. In the end, the stories people create about you say far more about them than about your life. Every rumor, every assumption, and every whispered accusation is a reflection of boredom, insecurity, envy, or the inability to handle someone who simply operates differently. Your privacy, your discipline, your focus, and your calm are not crimes. They are your strength. They unsettle those who thrive on chaos, expose those who have stagnated, and reveal those who confuse projection with reality. What some perceive as deception or secrets is often nothing more than intentional living, self-respect, and integrity. The truth of your life is simple, steady, and powerful, and that simplicity threatens those who need drama to feel significant. Remember this: the judgments, the whispers, and the fabricated narratives cannot touch what you genuinely are. Your authenticity cannot be manufactured by anyone else's imagination. You move quietly, live intentionally, and grow continuously. And that alone speaks louder than any story someone tries to write about you. While others are busy spinning tales, you are busy building your life. And in that contrast, your power, clarity, and independence shine unmistakably. If you resonate with this truth, recognize it, and let it guide you, your life will remain yours, untouchable by the noise of others. Stand firm in your choices, stay unapologetically private when needed, and continue to operate at a level that others can't comprehend. The less they understand, the stronger you become. If this video spoke to you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more insights like this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. It helps spread this message to everyone who needs to hear it. Your support keeps the truth moving forward, unfiltered and unapologetic. Stay blessed always.